we are. Yay! Sorry about that. And sorry we are a little bit late today. My Wi-Fi decided to act up. Technical difficulties, but that will happen. So I'm Iris, and this is...
I'm Caitlin. It's great to be with you today and hop on your channel.
Well, thank you for joining me. So Caitlin and I know each other. I used to coach gymnastics, and she was the athletic trainer at the school that I coached for. So we got to know each other with that. We won't say quite how long ago it was, because it's longer than I thought. Yeah, we have seemed to have gotten. We're not old. No, it's just time does fly as you get older.
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so we know you're an athletic trainer.
Yeah.
But tell us more about you and yourself and what you do and your business, of course.
Yeah, absolutely. So I am an athletic trainer and a certified nutritionist. So my background is very health driven. But my family and I really enjoy cruising as well. So that's something that Iris and I connected on way back when.
Yes.
And so we thought that being able to combine the two, and I know there's a lot of people that are health conscious while they're traveling, or maybe even get some like anxiety around their like routine when they're going on vacations. And we thought it would be cool to be able to share some like tangible tips while you're traveling, so you can enjoy your cruise vacation without having to stress about that.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you're someone that is really, if you're new to cruising, if you've never cruised before, you might have only heard about, all of the all-you-can-eat buffets and, midnight buffets, and that there's just this food all around. And if you haven't cruised and are, more health-minded, or if you're really looking to put healthy practices in place in your life, it can be a little daunting to think, okay, so this is what I know about cruising. How am I going to put this into practice in my life so that I can still enjoy my cruise, but also not, take steps backwards?
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
and I think it's like overwhelming to a lot of cruise lines have a lot of choices.
There's a lot of choices.
So I think even adding that piece in probably does feel daunting if you've never cruised before or it's newer to you.
So you're going on a cruise.
Yeah.
Let's say you're going on a week-long cruise.
Yeah.
So you're heading, just for simplification's sake, we'll say we're heading down to Florida, week-long Caribbean cruise. And the first day you get on board, you're heading to that first buffet. You have dinner planned that night. You're going to the main dining room. The next day you might be going to a specialty restaurant. You know that there's a buffet for breakfast. What are some things to be thinking about just in that first, the first day, the first 24 hours that you're on board, in terms of, we'll start out with the nutrition side of it, and then also into some other healthy practices that we can do on board?
Sure. I think the first thing to, no matter what your cruise ship is to do a little research like ahead of time and see like what your options are. But thinking about the buffet, I think the cruise lines I've been on are really, really conscious about having good options. So you're able to really be able to get a wide variety of foods, probably ones that you're really familiar with having at home in your own routine. And even though there's a lot of food options, I think you can keep things simple. And I know with COVID guidelines now, it's probably even a little bit easier because you have someone behind the counter that's going to be serving you that option too. So that takes probably some anxiety out around all of the like touching of utensils, there's great washing your hands practices. And so you can say, if I was at home, I probably would be choosing a protein option. I'm going to probably add in a carb, some like veggies or fruit, at breakfast. So those are all things that you can get in the buffet too. So it's, they have omelet stations, which is my favorite.
I love the omelet stations.
So you can definitely get some really balanced options in there, and you can have something fun on the side, waffles or whatever.
Yeah.
but trying to stick to similar portion sizes that you would at home as well. And if you would have your omelet with your veggies and a side of home fries or something like that, like that's perfect. And you should still honor your hunger and fullness cues like you would at home.
So what are some good ways to honor those hunger and fullness cues? So I've overall in life tried to live a relatively healthy lifestyle, but you are the professional. So so I eat my portion. I have my omelet, I have my home fries. The buffet's still there. Yeah. It's calling to me. Yeah. So after having that, what are some hunger and fullness cues that I could look for to try to keep myself from, overindulging in that buffet?
Yeah. So this is doing like a quick body scan. Are you noticing that you are, that really like fullness feeling in your stomach? Are you at that point? Are you already over that point? Are you listening to that? If you're still hungry and not there yet, like go back. Maybe this is like a great opportunity to have some fruit or add in, a little pastry if you're wanting to. But if you've already hit that point, you should feel, comfortably full. Not like you need to go back to your room and take a nap already. You should feel like you have some energy where you could go walk around a little bit, or maybe venture out to, find your pool chair for the morning. Yeah. Without feeling like you need to immediately go back to sleep, hopefully, especially if it's, day one, morning one. Hopefully we haven't gotten too overboard yet.
Hopefully not too overboard yet. One thing that I try to think about when I'm cruising is that you don't have to have everything on day one. So for the most part, the options on the buffet, specifically at breakfast time, are going to be relatively similar each day of the cruise. There might be a few differences that pop up, but if there's an omelet station, most likely there's going to be an omelet station every day. If you are craving something else, most of those things are going to be occurring throughout the week. So you don't have to feel like you have to have all of those things that you're wanting in that one meal. Like you're going to have multiple meals to be able to come back for.
Yeah, absolutely.
So let's talk about, so you're going through the day. On a ship, you basically can have food 24 hours a day. Like between room service, all the different venues, a lot of ships now have some sort of burger, fries, something that's either by the pool or up in that, on that, Lido area that you can get throughout the day. There's ice cream, there's usually cookies out. All of this is, most of the time, all of these things are included, and they're so easy to get. So how do you get your mind to say, I actually am full, I don't need to go get that ice cream, even though it's right there and so delicious?
So I think that part is more of balancing things out. You are on vacation and you want to enjoy it. So certainly it's okay to, indulge in ice cream. It's more of that mindset where like you can have the things, we just don't want to have like all of the things all at once, because it's just not going to make you feel great to where you can't like enjoy it. So it's moderation. So it's like, okay, I'm gonna have the ice cream and maybe I'll have like dessert too later after dinner, but because I really want the ice cream, maybe I'm not gonna have like a Bahama Mama instead. It's kind of like, where can we implement a little bit of balance so that we keep our blood sugar levels stable? This is like what really drives that, those feelings where we might have like energy crashes or upset stomach or headaches, things like that. So it's about balancing that out. So if you've had, a meal with some good protein, fiber in it. Having that ice cream shortly after is probably going to be fine. It's not going to spike things up too high to where the point where then you need again to take a nap.
Right.
So not that you can't take a nap on vacation. We
Sure.
encourage naps,
Yeah.
but
if you're going to be heading, ashore shortly after, you don't want to be going ashore to explore these beautiful places that cruises go, just to feel dragged down and fatigued. You want your food to be energizing you, instead of making you groggy.
Absolutely. So something that I encourage clients just in general, like I think I've mentioned times, making sure you do have good protein, fiber, healthy fats on your plate at meal times. That's going to, along with being mindful of your portion size, help you to feel balanced throughout the day. And then you can add in those little, couple treats throughout your day, because you are on vacation and you do want to enjoy yourself. So it's not about being like 100% perfect, but just doing what you can with the choices that you have, so that you can, feel good and do all of the activities that you want to do.
So say we were, we're going ashore, we're in Jamaica today, and we're going to go climb a waterfall. Super wonderful way to spend the day in Jamaica. The breakfast that you'd want to have that day, is that going to be a high in protein? We're going to want some energy. So
yeah, we want to have protein. Also want to have carbs in there. Carbs are still your main fuel and energy source. So if you're going to be hiking, you certainly do want to add some in there. So whether you're adding in some toast, or you're enjoying like a waffle or a pancake with your eggs.
See, when I hear carbs and the carbs are okay, all I think about is going to the Italian restaurant at dinner.
Yeah.
That's like all I want, is an excuse to eat all of the carbs. That is my absolute guilty pleasure. How can I do something like that on vacation without, overdoing it too much? Is that portion size kind of related, or?
I would say it's more portion size, but it also goes back to that blood sugar balance we talked about a little too. So making sure that you are having carbs by themselves, that is what's going to really drive things up, and tends to not leaving us with like great stomach, or some people will get like heartburn if they have too many carbs. I'm guilty of this on a dinner cruise. But making sure that you are, again, pairing this. So like if you're going to have a pasta dish, try to see if you can have protein on the side with it. If, if they have some options for some veggies that you can order either mixed in or on the side, and get that fiber and that protein, with the dish to help keep things balanced, and, be mindful of your portion sizes to share your garlic bread and dinner rolls with the entire table.
I don't get them all to myself. I have to share.
But yeah, being mindful again of everything in terms of portion size, but if you're, pairing some things too, that will also help, because protein is going to help us with that satiety at your meal as well. So carbs will give you the energy, and the protein will help the satiety to kind of hold you over till your next meal.
Okay. All right. So we're at the Italian. So we woke up in the morning. We had our good protein. We had our balanced breakfast with some carbs in there. My excuse to have a waffle.
Yeah.
We hiked. We climbed the waterfall. We're now at the Italian restaurant at dinner time. I see on the menu that there is a fettuccine alfredo, and I would like to add some chicken and maybe some veggies to it, so that I can have a nice balance. How do cruise lines are they gonna, I ask my server, can I have some chicken? What response will I get, do you think?
I think they would say absolutely.
Yes.
They're there to make this like the best experience possible for you. So don't be afraid to ask for things, whether you have dietary restrictions, like let them know ahead of time, or like if you do want 2 different appetizers to just try things, even if you don't eat all of it, they're going to absolutely accommodate you as best they can. And, especially asking for extra protein or veggies on the side is going to be like, no problem. They'll probably bring you more than you want.
Yeah, cruise lines are definitely known for being as accommodating as possible, both if it's a dietary restriction, but also if you're wanting to try different things, or if it's that you're trying to incorporate more proteins or more fibers into your meals so that you have a more balanced meal. Like the cruise line, I guess I can't speak for every single cruise line, but I've been on a lot, but I don't know, 7 or 8 cruise lines at this point, and they really want to make sure that you are happy. I mean, obviously, if you are asking for some, I don't even know what it would be. I'm sure there's something that you could ask for that they'd say no. Like but in general, if you just want some chicken to go with your pasta, they'll figure that out.
Yeah, I think any reasonable requests, they'll absolutely accommodate you. I can't even think of like something. They're just, I know every cruise experience I've had this service, especially in dining rooms and restaurants. They go like above and beyond, and are amazing. So
one of my very first cruises, I was about 8 years old, and I wanted a baked potato, and it wasn't on the menu, and I asked for it anyways, and I thought, it wasn't that I was trying to be difficult by any stretch. I just was a kid that wanted a baked potato. And I was like, oh, can I have a baked potato? And then they got me a baked potato. And honestly, I would have given that cruise 10 million stars just because of that one baked potato. It was fabulous. I felt, it was so cool. I was like, yep, this is great. And needless to say, 25 years later, I'm still cruising. So it obviously worked. That potato was a good choice.
Yeah, no, I think that's one of the like biggest things is there are so many like options. You have people like taking care of you, and if you're someone that is health conscious, you're probably cooking a lot at home in your own kitchen, and you probably want a little break to not have to prep, not have to do the dishes and all of that. So
no dishes. Yay.
Like take that balance. Like, don't be afraid to ask for things on the side. Like if you're, there's a, salad appetizer or something and you want to be a little bit more in control of things, like just ask them. Like they're going to help you to the best they can.
Yeah, absolutely. It's also a great time to try new things.
Yeah.
Cruises are where I tried things like escargot and lobster for the first time. And
I still, definitely do the escargot with the butter and the garlic, even if you are worried about it. It's the best.
Yeah, so, escargot's on the menu, very heavy on butter, very heavy on garlic, probably not the most health conscious choice to have. It's okay to have that if you're balancing it with other, proteins and.
Yeah, I mean, and escargot's still gonna have some protein in it,
True.
which is great. I think it's a great time to try new things. If you're traveling with family or kids, like it's a great time to have them try things too.
Mm-hmm.
So get the escargot, even if you only have like a couple, try it, and then go about. The dinner entrees are typically, they do a nice job of balancing things out anyways.
Mm-hmm.
So I think you're gonna be fine. It's not like a million escargot is, but try it one night and go back if you want.
Yeah. I love that it's an opportunity to try things, especially because for the most part, there are some restaurants that do cost money on ships, and there are some, even if you're in the main dining room at this point, there are typically some extra things. If you want the giant steak, they're probably going to charge a surcharge for that. Now, I will say different cruise lines offer different inclusions. So if you're sailing on, Regent Seven Seas, it's going to have different things included than if you're on Costa. Those are kind of extreme examples, but you're going to have different things included. But it is such a great time to be able to try things, because if you don't like it, you didn't just spend $20 on it. Like, all right, I didn't like it, I'll get something else.
Yeah, it's a great time to mix things up, and you can still keep your, main principles in there, like we've been talking about, this throughout. But it is vacation, and I think if you can balance out and not have, all the things every single day, but you're sprinkling in those things that you really want to try and enjoy, then it's going to help you feel your best and get the most out of your time on vacation too. So
now you hinted at something earlier, but is the only way you're getting carbs and feeling very, very full from the food you're eating?
No, absolutely not.
Or is some of it the drink package?
Yeah, I think alcohol is a big one for people on vacations, and the cruise lines do, like, to their credit, have good like drink package options, but it is certainly something I think to be more mindful of than even probably your food choices. If you want to enjoy beverages, like, you absolutely should, but a lot of these packages, I think, in order to break even, you have to have probably like 8 to 10 drinks a day.
Sometimes you do have to have quite a few.
They're all different.
I think with drink packages, sometimes where people, it changes how you're thinking about your drink. It's like you want to make sure that you're getting your money's worth for it. Which, fair enough, you want to get your money's worth, but I think trying to change your mindset that you have the package so that you don't have to think about how much that's costing to go to the bar. Okay, I decide, I want a glass of wine with dinner. You're not thinking, okay, this is a $9 glass of wine, and then you debate, should I get it, should I not get it? And I know I went on a cruise line that it's just an all-inclusive cruise line, which super wonderful experience. But it definitely, and this time it wasn't like I was trying to get my money's worth so much. It was just that it was included, and I was like, this is so cool. I've never had this in my life before. I just walk to the bar and they hand me a drink, and this is cool. And I feel like I definitely had more than I needed to, just because it's the same cost to have a glass of water as it is to have a glass of wine. Literally turning water into wine. So there we go. Yeah. Thank you, Seaborn, for turning water into wine for me. But it definitely changes your mindset, and that's can be as big of a part of being mindful about your nutrition on board as the food part.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And I think from that mindset perspective, it is thinking about, again, like, how do you want to feel, each day when you're trying to show up to be like your best self and the best version of yourself. Because I think for those of us who are health conscious or are working on being healthier, like, that's a really big part of it. So it's like, when going into your vacation, it's even thinking about it ahead of time, like, what intentions do I want to set for, like, feeling on vacation? Like, do I want to be having a mimosa and then drink a beer at lunch and whatever, to then feeling like I need to nap for 2 hours in the afternoon in order to, like, make it to the show after dinner? Probably not. Like, I want to be able to have good energy throughout the day, and not that maybe I don't want to lie in the sun in the afternoon, but I don't want it to be like I have to go back to my room because my energy is so low from having all those drinks. So thinking about it and saying, like, okay, are there some packages that are great that include, like, coffee and water and stuff? Like, absolutely, like, that probably could be a good value that you look into for yourself. But probably cost-wise, if you just want to have a glass of wine at dinner and maybe a drink or two when you're at the cruise line's island type of situation, it's like that money that you spend isn't gonna, like, overdo what you would spend on a drink package, probably. So again, it's kind of weighing those options and how you really want to feel, and how you tolerate alcohol as a person as well, and thinking about all those considerations.
So say you have a dietary restriction, whether that be an allergy, lactose intolerance, gluten-free, any variation on that. How do cruise lines accommodate that, and I guess, will they accommodate it?
Yeah, as far as I know, they're really accommodating of those things. Usually, too, I think you can coordinate ahead of time with most cruise lines to let them know if you have something significant so that they can help give you those options. Or if you're working with like a travel agent, they're absolutely going to be able to help you and let them know coordinating it. But even if for some reason you just showed up, got on board, and didn't tell anyone, I think most venues are really great about having vegan and dairy-free and gluten-free options so that you aren't limited and you can still have like really great experiences. Even if you like don't have those, some of the options are still really like yummy. And I know I don't have any like specific ones, but I do like trying new things and have had like great even vegan like dishes in the main dining room and things like that.
Yeah, I've definitely been noticing a lot more over the past few years in particular that you'll see designated vegan, vegetarian, and gluten-free options on the menu every night. And those will change. You'll also have some, standard ones that will kind of remain throughout the cruise. But it definitely, the knowledge about different dietary restrictions, it has increased dramatically. I have a nut and peanut allergy. I have been cruising since I was a kid with that allergy the whole time. And I will say that cruise lines they're so much more mindful now than they were in my younger years. Like, it's definitely something that they're very aware of, and they will absolutely work with you to figure it out. So a lot of times, that might mean, depending on if it's an allergy, they might have you select options the night before. So it used to be when you get a printed menu, which many cruise lines still do have a printed menu, but I would pick out the foods that I wanted for the next day or at that dinner. That doesn't mean that you have to go to dinner in that same venue the next night. Like, it's just an option. And with buffets and stuff, if it is an allergy or an intolerance, there's always going to be a supervisor that's working in that space. So if, you are curious how you should navigate it, basically, it's totally appropriate for you to ask whoever is working in that space, whether it's the supervisor or not. You can ask anyone that's working, on the buffet line, okay, so I'm gluten-free. What are some options for me? And they'll, the knowledge really has increased amongst both the higher ups on the cruise line and the staff that are working, so that everyone is being able to enjoy their cruise the best they can while being safe. So
yeah, and then too, I think servers will go above and beyond here too. If for like some reason you're in the buffet or even like a different restaurant and what they're asking for, like they don't have, like they may go to a different venue to get it for you. And there's connected galleys and all that cool stuff too.
Yeah,
but,
you haven't got to see that part. No. It's pretty cool. How the whole back side of the ship works.
Yeah, Derek's done the galley tour, so it's like really
those are really fun.
But
wear your closed-toed shoes. It's one of the requirements on galley tours. When you go on a ship, you have to have closed-toed shoes.
But yeah, I think if you have an allergy or a dietary restriction, go in feeling like empowered that you have good choices and put it out there, and people are going to absolutely be able to help you with that. No problem.
Now we're going to go with restrictions in a different manner for a moment, just to touch on. So we were talking about how alcohol and drinks can play a part in your nutrition while you're on board. If you are someone that has an alcohol addiction, should you shy away from cruising? Like, what would your thoughts be on that?
That's a really great question. I do think there's definitely a really big like emphasis on this, and it may depend like where you are in your like healing and like recovering journey here. There are also like really great non-alcoholic options available. I've cruised while I was pregnant and was able to have non-alcoholic versions of things that I wanted to enjoy. But maybe you're like not in that state at all, and just even the thought of being near a bar is like nerve-wracking to you. I think there's still so much to do on a cruise ship besides eat and drink, that if you're willing to go into it with an open mind and you want to be on the pool deck and enjoying yourself, like you absolutely don't need to do it with alcohol. So again, it might vary from person to person, and what your triggers are and where you're recovering, but I think it's absolutely doable.
And most cruise lines now also, if you look on the daily program, the daily schedule for the day, they'll either have it as, an Alcoholics Anonymous meeting, or a Friends of Bill W. Is another way that it's put. And so they do want to offer support for people that are going, I don't want to say going through that, because I know that it's, something that you're just always dealing with and navigating in life. But I think there's definitely a way that you can still cruise and have a wonderful time. I don't want our previous conversation about, having the mimosa in the morning and the beer at lunch and the wine at dinner. Like, I don't want that to put people off of cruising, because there's definitely a way to have that be also part of being mindful of your health, that personal side of your health while cruising. It's very much an option. Yeah. Okay, so we're gonna shift gears for just a moment. Okay, so I'm a crew member. Yeah. I'm going on my first contract. I've been told that when I go to work, I'm going to be able to eat in the passenger buffets. Every once in a while, I might get to eat in the dining room. But I'm not just going for a week. I'm going for 4 months. Yeah. Okay, so how can I go from thinking about it? Because, before, it's okay, you're on vacation, you want to be able to still enjoy yourself. But mentally navigating that for a week is very different than navigating it for 4 months. So what are some potential, tips or tricks to thinking about my health over the course of that, when all these foods are available to me?
Yeah. So I would say it is probably doing a little bit more like planning once you get on board and see, what those options look like for you in terms of, things for the crew. I know you guys have like a separate eating area. Obviously, I don't know what all those options look like, but being able to say, okay, like, I can see that there are some good protein options for me at, lunch, breakfast, dinner, and these are going to have these are the carbs that I have available to me, and these are the like healthy fats and veggies, fiber. I'm sure like that part's not like a problem in terms of availability, but building your plate and trying to stay consistent with, okay, I want to make sure that I have 20 to 30 grams of protein at each meal. For reference, for most people, it's palm size 4 to 6 ounces of animal protein, and then that's usually like 2 eggs, 2 egg whites, kind of like situation at breakfast if you like eggs. This maybe also, I don't know, are you allowed to like pack some like snacks or like supplements and types of things as a crew member? I don't know.
So supplements, if you were thinking like
if
like athletic greens or something, stuff like that, you can have different, protein powders and stuff in your cabin available to you. Yeah, there are some restrictions as to what you can have for food in your cabin. Just they don't want to encourage people to just hoard food in their cabins, because that could lead to
maybe it is so considering bringing like a protein powder, like a green supplement. I think would be awesome to have for quick snack. I know shifts can sometimes be really long depending on where you are, and so if you're able to use that to have a little bit more protein to help with staying full until you are able to have your next meal. If you have a 6 or 7 hour or longer shift, I think that would be a great idea. But definitely prioritizing your protein at your meals is going to help with that. Making sure that you have some healthy fats in there as well for that satiety, and definitely put your veggies or your fruit in at meals as well.
So what are some healthy fat options that we should be
Sure.
looking at for that?
So avocado is great. I know that might not be like always available. I don't know
Not
again,
maybe in
but
the crew areas, but in the past, but there's-
nuts and seeds are awesome.
Mhm.
And depending on what things are cooked in, obviously you could do olive oil based dressings are good sources of fats that you probably would have access to. Let's see what else. Nut butters if you don't have any
You don't have an
allergies.
allergy.
But,
Yeah.
I know that might be a little bit more tricky navigating. And again, I don't know exactly what it looks like in your
Yeah.
career, which makes this
Yeah,
question challenging. But I think
But
those
if
are
you just
some
are thinking,
staples.
and there are, depending on the cruise line, there are some crew that can have eaten the passenger areas, which I always found that it was the ice cream. The ice cream's what got me. So I would limit myself if I had, I could have ice cream once a day. That was my thing. I could have ice cream once a day. If I had it at lunch, I couldn't have it at dinner. If I had it at dinner, I couldn't have it at lunch. So I kind of just mentally worked through. That was kind of my balance on the fact that there was just free ice cream all the time.
Yeah, I think too, balancing it out. So it's like if there's something, think about how you would be like on the edge. You may go treat yourself to like a latte once a week at a coffee shop, or you go out to dinner with friends on the weekend, trying to sort of keep it similar to how you would eat at home with that, incorporating that balance, but not defining it necessarily by like weekday or weekend, because I think that
As a crew member,
bad
weekdays and
restriction.
weekends don't exist.
Good. I think
No,
that they should
it's
go
port
out there
days.
with-
Your life is by port day. You're like, it's home port today. We've got 2 sea days, which are just going to be sea days for most crew members. My husband would tell you that sea days are his slightly easier days because he's in the engine room, and you can't work on big engine projects when the ship's moving. Yeah, so it's interesting. Our lives were very opposite kind of on board. But for the hotel side, the passenger facing crew members, the sea days were definitely the busy days. So your brain was like, okay, busy days, and then we've got port day. I'm working in the morning. I've got 3 hours off in the afternoon, and
so I'd say like on your less busy days when you have a little more time, this is where you maybe try something on board that you would have available to you at home, or you treat yourself to dessert or ice cream or whatever. But it's not necessarily. It could be like an everyday thing, like you said, like having that one treat. But however you would create balance like at home in terms of like that, whatever works for you, trying to implement that in a way that feels similar to you on the ship. So if you're not necessarily like a dessert person, but you like crunchy like snacks, like maybe trying to implement it in a way into your meals, like if it's the salad bar, maybe there's some like croutons or other like toppings that you can like add to get that in, but trying to find those little like things that still bring you like some joy to have fun with your food, I think is important, because I'm sure as a crew member, options maybe are a little bit limited, so it could get monotonous. So just trying to find like little fun things that you can to still keep it fun for yourself, because that's really important too with food.
Yeah, at some point I'm going to write a whole blog post about different Lido hacks, basically, like different ways to combine things, and from grab from this section to you're gonna make yourself some chili cheese fries, which might break some rules. But no, chili cheese fries are okay.
Yeah, you're combining the carbs with the protein. So the biggest thing is you just don't. I like to say you don't want your carbs naked, not just carbs by themselves. When you're putting it with the other stuff, again, it helps keep our blood sugar balanced. So we're not getting this big spike up, and then our pancreas has to put all that extra insulin to have it come down, and then we tend to crash the other direction, and we're on this blood glucose roller coaster all day long.
Gotcha.
So we want to keep them small little waves. Not
so some protein, some carbs, and some fiber. Try to get those 3 things in pretty much every meal that you're having, to not be on the roller the blood sugar roller coaster.
Yeah, we don't want like
Interesting.
to have to be going through like a storm in the cruise ship where everything's rocking back and forth, but rather, steady, nice Caribbean.
There we go.
Waters.
Steady, nice Caribbean waters. Yes, and we don't want our the navigators and the engine room guys to be on blood sugar highs and lows to make the rocky one, make it rocky. Oh dear. I think those all sound like, it's interesting as like to understand how the blood sugar part impacts, how your body's processing things and how making that balance, like that, pasta doesn't have to be the evil. Pasta doesn't have to be evil. It's okay for it to be a part of your meal as long as you're balancing that with other elements.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think the biggest thing is that blood sugar level balancing. It helps to support our metabolism. It helps to support our energy levels and our hormones. And I don't think it gets talked about enough, but I just like to call it the PHF approach. It's just protein, healthy fats, and fiber at your meals. You can add in the carb too, but if you have all of those things at your plate, you're more likely to be satisfied, less likely to overeat on things because you are getting that satisfaction from having the protein and the healthy fats. And then, you can, when you want to, add in those fun things that you enjoy.
I think that sounds great. So, and if you want additional nutrition coaching that's specified to you to you individually, I'm sorry about the sun.
Okay. I'm good. It's just my neck.
Just your neck. Okay, we're highlighting your beautiful neck. But if you ever would like some individualized nutrition coaching, then lovely Caitlin runs Wholesome Huntress. Which is a nutrition business.
Yeah, so it's my nutrition coaching business. I help people learn how to really sort of ditch this diet mentality and create a better relationship with food, help you, navigate situations that cruising, vacations, life, when things get crazy so that you can really feel your best and flourish in all of the things that you want to do.
And your program is called Nourish to Flourish.
Yeah.
Nourish to Flourish.
Yeah, it's my group coaching program. I do offer one-on-one coaching as well. So if you're interested, I think Iris is going to leave the website.
Yes,
and
the
Instagram
links will be in the description. Okay, so part of what you were just saying brought something to mind. So the cruise line that I worked for had a specialty steak restaurant, and it was all so delicious that at the end we would all describe it as that we were having a baby, food baby.
Yeah.
We had a food baby because it was so much food and it was so good. Yeah. So how do you take that experience where you're kind of mentally going into it expecting that feeling, to the point that some crew members, they would have less to eat at lunch to prepare for that. And these, that seems kind of like not the mindful, healthy way to navigate going to this delicious steak restaurant. So what's some ways to say, okay, I do want the candied bacon. I want the crab cakes. I want a steak. I mean, I know these are all wants, they're not needs, but how is it that, you're looking at this menu that has all these delicious things? Most likely you are paying extra for this particular meal. And so it kind of goes into the mindset of, okay, well, I want to get my money's worth. How do you be mindful in that situation to make sure that you're not leaving there and instantly feeling like you need to go take a nap?
I think first off, try not to skip any meals, even while you're on a cruise, or not. Try not to save up calories or skip things because you have a big event coming up. This is going to probably make you feel really hangry at 3 p.m. while you're still having to wait another 2 or 3 hours before you even have dinner.
So what is that doing to your blood sugar roller coaster?
So depending what you've, had, I don't know, for
Breakfast.
probably if you're skipping, lunch, your blood sugar levels probably had a little bit of a spike if you had, carbs in them, and maybe didn't have as much protein, because people do tend to not get enough protein at breakfast time, I've found in general. So you've probably already gone up and you've dipped. So your energy levels, you're probably really dragging. Now you've skipped your lunch. So when you do eventually get to that meal, you definitely are going to want to get everything on the menu, because you're hungry, your blood sugar levels are low. You will, probably overdo it and end up with that food baby with that method. So instead, trying to make sure that you are having a balanced lunch. Maybe even you do get hungry at 3 before you go into the meal, and you go grab a snack at the cafe or whatever options are open to you on your cruise ship. But if you are, obviously you want to go hungry into a meal, but you don't want to be hangry where you could eat everything in sight. So, maybe you get like a salad with your starter, and then you also get a crab cake or something like that, or candied bacon, like choosing one of them, or maybe you share like the candied bacon with someone.
Want me to share my bacon? You want me to share my bacon?
Or
no, I think that's
you have one, then you share with someone else. If
Yeah.
there's multiple options that you want to try, then we have at least a little bit of it. And
so you're still getting that flavor that you're craving, but without restricting yourself entirely.
Yeah. Steak is great, obviously, from like a protein perspective. You don't need to skip it, but maybe you get the filet instead of giant.
The giant,
like, I don't know, was it porterhouse?
I think those are the big ones.
Sorry, I'm not a big steak expert.
I'm not either. I'm just like, can I have that one?
But if you want to enjoy like a filet mignon, that's a great kind of steak. And a lot of times I think the steakhouses do like family style sides. So making sure you order at least like one veggie between your table, so that you can have that on there as well. You can have your baked potato.
Baked potato
and
with cheese and bacon on top. Is that okay?
And
some sour cream.
Your bacon. Yeah, keep it balanced.
Oh no, I'm gonna have the candy bacon. If I have to choose between bacon on my baked potato and bacon as a candied bacon, I'm going
this
for
is
the
where
candy.
the balance part just comes in a little bit, because then we are
good
going.
To think about, because it's easy to just say loaded baked potato, but think okay, I've already had that part.
So we don't need to restrict all of it, but trying to make some selections here and there with things. And if you are feeling stuffed at that point after you've had it, ask to take your dessert with you to go, so that you can have it later, and you can still enjoy the red velvet cake. But if you end that meal and you are full, instead of pushing yourself overboard into the food baby, ask for a box, and they absolutely will do that. So you can bring it with you and have it on your balcony or something later.
That sounds lovely.
Yeah. That's my favorite.
I think now we should go cruising. Yeah. So, where is you have a cruise booked?
Yeah.
You're going in a couple months?
Yeah, we're going at the end of March. This will be our first cruise prior to COVID. We're going to be going out of New York or New Jersey, I guess.
Yeah.
And we're going to be on Anthem of the Seas, which we've been on before.
Nice.
And we're going down to the Caribbean. So
very nice. And this is not just your first cruise post-COVID, or within COVID.
Yeah, I guess
we're not post-COVID.
I can say that.
But we're first cruise since the cruise industry changed forever.
Yeah.
But it's also your first cruise with a child.
Yeah. So my son Luca, he's actually going to be turning 2 while we're on the cruise.
It's exciting.
Yeah, we didn't really initially plan it that way. We're like, we're going to be on board for his birthday. So it'll be really fun. We had initially booked something last April, and everything was still we had to shift.
Yeah.
But we're really excited, and can't wait to have some escargot and a mojito.
And a mojito.
But yeah, I think, I find I used to be really, before working on a lot of like health habits on my own and getting my master's in nutrition. My first cruise, I think, was in college. I remember I was like terrified of going to the buffet. Like I definitely was like scared of carbs and all of that stuff at that point. And now it's that I have kind of these like key habits and have worked on a lot of mindset around things. It's like, the buffet is an awesome option to be able to get that balance, and you can really, control what you want to get, and it's fun.
Yeah. Well, and it's because everyone has had such a different relationship with food, with their bodies, with how their body responds to food throughout their lives, and so, it's good to have some tips going into it that like, and it's from science, like these are science-based tips. It's like, this is how your body works when you feed it these things. And this is how it's going to react if you overdo it in this way or this way. So I think just getting the knowledge out there into people can really help to change mindsets. So the buffet doesn't have to be a scary place, and carbs don't have to be this like, and you don't have to feel guilty if you have some carbs as long as you're balancing it. So, because you don't want to feel guilty when you're on vacation.
No,
you don't want to feel guilty anyways about food and whatnot. But certainly when you're on vacation and you see something yummy, you don't want to feel guilty about, letting yourself have it. You want to be able to actually.
Yeah, we don't want to have all these rules around food. It's, making your nutritional approach feel balanced so you're not restricted. And if you see something you want to enjoy, then you go ahead and enjoy it. And then you kind of go right back into your natural rhythm, and you listen to what your body's telling you. I think, as a society, we've heard so many things from the diet, industry itself, and we've fed ourselves a lot of that information. I know I've felt like that, and sometimes it even like creeps in, hearing things even as a professional. But our bodies are really, really smart, and we just have to sometimes tune all of that out and listen to them, because they're gonna be able to really tell us what's going on.
That's smart. Listen to your body. Now we've talked all about this in terms of a nutrition standpoint. Part of health typically is exercise. Where does that play in? To, is it kind of when you go on vacation, if you're used to exercising, then keep up with that? Or how,
I think it's going to be a little bit different from everyone, depending on where you are at and what you normally do. A lot of cruises have really great facilities for gyms. So if you have a routine that you're used to doing, I can guarantee you'll have probably all the equipment that you need. At least that's what I've experienced on the cruise ships we've been on. And if you want to sort of take it down a notch maybe and give your body some rest while you're on vacation, you're going to probably do a lot of walking, which is awesome. So even if you just walk, that's still going to be really positive. And walking is great for our digestion. So if you are feeling a little bit like you've overdone it, which is okay, it's part of like the experience too, then go for a 10 or 15 minutes on the walking track on your cruise ship. And I think that's also a great little benefit, but you can kind of do, I think, as much or as little as you want. But I would definitely at least encourage, adding in some walks after meals to help with the digestion.
Okay, so get our balanced meal, go for a walk afterwards. That's going to aid in digestion. Keep your metabolism flowing. And then we can meet by the pool for a mojito.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe add some water in there too.
We should have some water at some point. Water is good.
Yeah. Stay hydrated. I know some people do tend to like have trouble with digestion and bowel movements when they're on vacation. So, doing a nice job with the water and the fiber is going to definitely help there too. And if you know that about yourself, that you tend to have struggle with digestion, then maybe see if you can pack some magnesium.
Okay.
That'll help.
Those are good tips to have. And with the walking, I mean, a lot of the cruise ships now are easily 1,000 feet long. So if you're walking from the dining room to the show lounge, that's a decent little walk.
Yeah, we were on Harmony for our wedding. And I did a couple like runs on the track, and it was like a full mile was like
just
2 laps or something. And I was like, wow.
Yeah, you're like, this is a very big boat. Like this is a very big ship. Yeah, some of the ships are large enough.
It was, I think, like at the time, the biggest one.
Yeah,
but not anymore.
They've had more come out since then. Yeah, yeah. Shipbuilding slowed down during COVID, but it definitely kept going. There've been a lot of ships that came out during the last 18 months or so that cruise lines have taken.
Yeah, so there's a couple of new ones that came out. Various cruise lines.
Yeah, there's been a lot of new ones popping up on the market, which is kind of fun. Let's see. Walking, balance, little exercise. There are also, for the exercise side of things, sometimes different fitness classes that are included. Sometimes they cost extra, but take a look on the schedule because you might see a yoga class if you haven't tried yoga. That could be a good time to try that.
Great mobility, like dance, kind of
some
like
dance classes.
There's fun options.
When I was watching some different videos that people put out from Virgin Voyages, there's apparently a lot of fun fitness exercise classes that are included on Virgin, which looks like it could be a good time.
That seems like a really fun ship that they've put out.
Yes. There's been some good reviews overall, just like with any cruise. I don't think that every cruise line is for everybody. I think most anyone with an open mind can have fun on any cruise line, but that doesn't necessarily mean that each cruise line is right for each person by any stretch. So,
do your research.
Do your research. Ask questions. Feel free to ask. Okay. Any last thoughts other than?
I don't think so. I think it's go into your vacation with an open mind. Do a little bit of planning and set some intentions for how you want to feel on your cruise, and try to keep your balanced plate in mind at each meal, and do movement that makes you feel good, brings you some like joy, and drink water, and you're going to be in great shape.
Yay! Drink water. And I will say that you can drink the water that comes out of the tap on the cruise line. My husband used to make the water on the cruise line that we were sailing. That was one of his jobs a few years ago, was to make the water, which is kind of cool that they bring seawater on and have the whole, that whole plant. It's insane, the downstairs part of a cruise ship in terms of it's a whole city. So
that's so cool.
Yeah.
Have it on the ship, maybe not.
Maybe not in certain ports, bottled water ashore. A lot of cruise lines are actually shifting to having metal water bottles that they fill for you that you can take ashore versus having to have plastic water bottles. So that's a great way to be able to stay hydrated while also reducing your plastic waste. So that part's pretty cool. Okay, well, thank you, whoever is out there, I know there were some people that kept popping in, and also whoever watches it afterwards. Sorry about all the sunshine. I shouldn't be sorry about the sunshine, though, because it's Vermont in December, and it's a nice, beautiful, sunny day. So I think I should just be grateful for it. Definitely lesson learned for next time, though, to put another blind on that window. But thank you so much, Caitlin, for joining me. This was a lot of fun. You're making me want to cruise and eat all the good food. And I'm looking forward to implementing some of these healthy habits just in my life now. And see how that can impact my energy levels.
Yeah.
Maybe I've definitely noticed that I've been having some up and down in terms of energy levels. So, a lot of that could be nutrition based.
Awesome.
Yeah. So thank you very
Yeah,
much.
thank you. It was
And
great to
thank you
have you
guys.
on.
Oh, Lou.
yeah.
Hi.
Lou. Cool.
Thank you, Lou. Thank you for, sorry about the sunshine on us right now, but thank you, Lou, for watching, and thank you for going back. Sorry you didn't notice the notification earlier. Our time changed, so that might have affected the notification thing, but thank you for watching, and I hope everyone has a great day.
Yeah. Bye. Thanks for having me.